All right, let's dive right into this explainer. Today, we're unpacking a massive, often misunderstood topic from this chapter: the vastly uneven reality of globalization. It's a word thrown around literally everywhere, right? In debates, news reports, economics classes. But what does it actually mean for us on the ground? Well, we're going to explore this highly complex force and break it down logically so you can see exactly how it operates in the real world. Let's kick things off with a simple question to see just how this global phenomenon shapes our everyday lives. What do a call center worker, a Chinese bicycle, and a pair of blue jeans have in common? At first glance, absolutely nothing. But when we look a bit closer, they're all profound examples of the exact same phenomenon. Take these three everyday stories straight from our source material. They perfectly illustrate how services, commodities, and cultural values move across the world. Think about John Adon. He works the night shift in a call center, and the moment he clocks in, he suddenly becomes John with a brand new accent, assisting overseas clients living thousands of miles away. That is the globalization of services. Then there's Ramdari, who goes shopping for a birthday gift and buys his daughter a bicycle that was manufactured in China, but marketed right there in India. That's the movement of commodities. And finally, Sarika. She's a first-generation learner stepping into an independent career that her female relatives never even dreamed of, completely showcasing a massive shift in cultural values and new global opportunities. To really master this chapter, we're going to break the topic down into 5 distinct pillars. First, defining the global flow. Second, catalysts of globalization. Third, politics and state capacity. Fourth, the economic divide. And fifth, culture, homogenization versus enlargement. Okay, moving right into our first section, defining the global flow. What exactly is globalization? Well, it's frequently misunderstood as being purely about money or just rich countries dominating poorer ones. Actually, scratch that. It's way more than just economics. It is defined fundamentally by constant flows that create a worldwide interconnectedness. It's this sustained reality, the fact that a ripple in one corner of the globe can literally become a tidal wave in another, that truly defines our modern era. And these flows, they happen in 4 very specific ways across our borders. We're talking about ideas moving from one part of the world to another, capital being rapidly shunted between places, commodities like Ramdari's bicycle being heavily traded, and people physically moving in search of better livelihoods. These 4 specific flows are the absolute lifeblood of globalization. Next up, Section 2, Catalysts of Globalization. So what's actually driving all this? After all, flows of ideas and goods have existed throughout human history. I mean, the Silk Road wasn't built yesterday, right? But what makes contemporary globalization so incredibly different comes down to scale and speed. The invention of the telegraph, the telephone, and especially the microchip completely revolutionized communication. It's like someone hit the fast-forward button, allowing ideas, capital, and commodities to move across the globe at an absolutely unprecedented pace. But, it's not just hardware and technology. Globalization thrives because people now inherently recognize that local events have immediate global impacts. Think about a tsunami or a bird flu outbreak. We now possess this collective awareness that a major economic or environmental event in one nation simply does not respect national boundaries. That mental shift, that recognition, is just as much a catalyst as the microchip itself. Which brings us to Section 3, Politics and State Capacity. Now we need to examine how these global flows directly impact the traditional power of governments. This is a heavily debated topic in the chapter. Some critics argue the old welfare state, which focuses on social well-being, is eroding. They say it's being replaced by a minimalist state, where the market basically determines social priorities, and governments are forced to step back, just focusing on core functions like law, order, and security. Yet, to be perfectly impartial here, there's a whole other side to this dynamic. States also gain immense power and capacity to rule through enhanced surveillance and information technologies. With advanced tech at their fingertips, governments can collect vast amounts of data about their citizens. So you could argue this actually makes the state more powerful and better equipped to rule, not less. State sovereignty hasn't just disappeared, it's just evolving. All right, let's shift gears to Section 4, the economic divide. Who actually wins and who loses here? When we talk about economic globalization, we often think of massive international institutions. But the ground-level reality is where it gets interesting. There is deep anxiety and vastly uneven distribution of gains surrounding global job competition today. In the past, the anxiety was often about people starving in distant countries. Today,
That anxiety has shifted right into our own living rooms, with parents warning their kids that people overseas are starving for their jobs. It perfectly encapsulates the extreme tension of interconnected labor markets.
And the debate here is fierce. Advocates argue that deregulation brings inevitable economic growth, that greater trade allows every economy to do what it does best, creating wealth for everyone. Critics, however, point out that these same policies don't lead to the same results everywhere. They passionately demand safety nets because, in this fast-paced global shift, certain vulnerable populations are predictably going to be forced to fall behind.
This brings up an incredibly provocative question straight from the text. Isn't globalization a new name for imperialism? It really forces us to critically evaluate the role of powerful countries and international institutions like the IMF and the WTO. Are these economic flows always voluntary, or are some forced by historical power dynamics? It's a crucial question to keep in the back of your mind when figuring out who exactly is setting the rules of the global market.
Finally, that leads us to Section 5, Culture, Homogenization versus Enlargement.
Let's explore how globalization reaches right into our homes, shaping what we eat, what we wear, and even how we think. There is a very genuine fear out there of cultural homogenization, this idea of a uniform global culture rising up, where everyone looks, acts, and eats exactly the same, destroying local traditions. But there's another perspective, cultural enlargement. Choosing to eat a burger doesn't mean you automatically forget how to enjoy a masala dosa, right? It just means you have one more choice on your menu. Cultures aren't static, they adapt and grow. An absolutely perfect example of this cultural enlargement is wearing a homespun khadi kurta right over a pair of blue jeans. It's a completely unique combination. The external influence of the blue jeans doesn't destroy the traditional Indian kurta at all. Instead, they combine to create something fresh, modifying the culture without erasing it. And guess what? That new style even gets exported back to the West. It's a brilliant two-way street. So, as we wrap up this explainer on the chapter, I want you to consider your own place in these global flows. We've seen that globalization isn't just some abstract force acting upon us. It's a massive, living web of connections that we participate in every single day. From the jobs we do, to the clothes we wear, to the ideas we share. The flows are vast, and they are deeply embedded in our lives. So the question is, are you just a consumer in this interconnected world, or are you actively shaping what comes next?